Hey there everybody, this is Admiral Newkirk here coming to you with Game 2 of the Hsstl series between Hinsdale Central High School and the University School of Milwaukee. Now, coming into this series, everyone in the Hinsdale Central side thought that we were doomed because our best player, our second and third, arguably, best players, at least before this, were all going to be gone. But thanks to an infusion by Maxime and the King of Kings, Baller of Ballers, Eric, otherwise known as Serial Killer, they won the first game. So all they have to do is win 3 more and they've actually won the series. So starting out, it is Serial Killer, spawning on, I believe this is... I'll have to look up this map name, but this is one of my favorite maps. It's a GSL map. Good Manners there by Serial Killer. Always do this, guys. Always just you just try to chat your opponent. Sometimes it can be fun. I like to do it. I like to say to them, hey, how's it going? Where you from? That kind of stuff. And it does show that you are a decent person and you're not out here just to be an asshole. So Serial Killer won the first game in somewhat convincing fashion, kind of because his opponent just didn't really make stuff. His opponent economized pretty well. An annoying person is pinging, and so just ignore the bottom half. His opponent just didn't really make stuff. After the first attack, Serial Killer chose to invest in an economy and then a delayed army, and instead his opponent didn't really do anything. Hi.
Miami will win easily, but I forgot they were the number 2 seed, so it's a home game.
Oh, okay.
Your headphones, sir.
Thank you. I've been looking for these.
I found them
somewhere strange
in your room.
Okay.
Or no, I'm here.
Okay.
A couple of days ago, mine have disappeared, so I saw them.
Okay.
Is there anything you could be doing today to maximize your academic performance tomorrow?
Yes.
Cool.
Hello there, everybody. This is Admiral Newkirk bringing you Game 2 of the Hsstl series between Hinsdale Central High School and the University School of Milwaukee. So to start off, we have Serial Killer spawning in the north and Matrix Runner spawning in the west. Matrix Runner is playing for the University School of Milwaukee, while Serial Killer is playing for Hinsdale Central High School. Now, Hinsdale Central High School thought that this week could be, a rollage against us, because arguably, well, our best player, and then arguably our second, and arguably our third best players, all were gone. Some for prom, others for unrelated reasons. And so we assumed that we weren't going to have any people to play. But thanks to a quick infusion by Maxime, my boy, and Serial Killer, the King of Kings, Baller of Ballers, aka Eric, we have actually won Game 1. So this is going to be Game 2 between Serial Killer and Matrix Runner. Serial Killer having some good manners here. And always do that, guys. Good manners are better than bad manners. Now this map is, I believe, Tarsonis RE. It is a GSL map, which means it was designed by Korean gamers. And this is some guy who's being annoying with his ping. And the cool thing about Tarsonis is it has a third base, which is super easy to defend. This is the only way into any of your first 3 bases. Now this is also something popular in the Korean game, or the Korean maps, is that you have sort of a mini expansion. This one has a rich Vespine Geyser, which is cool because it brings you back, 6 instead of 4. So that means you can use it to really quickly get a lot of gas. But these are only 6 mineral patches, which means it's not a full expansion. However, no one likes having an annoying to defend third. Everyone likes having quick ability to macro and get a lot of bases. And so therefore, this map is really cool for that. It's also like the biggest map in the game, I believe. It has this cool island over here, which I always want to land on. And it has the coolest thing, which is a neutral supply depot. This is so that you can still have a 2x2 ramp, but you can't get walled off with like pylons or bunkers, which is really cool. And pylon and bunker wall offs are just kind of lame. They don't really teach anything. They're not, they don't really show your strength as a player. Oh, I thought Serial Killer was about to get really early gas, but this is his second extractor trick that really early in the game. So he immediately puts 3 guys into gas. That was really strong timing right there. He's scouting with his Overlord. I don't like this. Scout with one of your Zerglings at least, just to make sure that he's not doing something super cheesy like a 2-gate proxy. Or actually, I came into this guy's base earlier today, and I'm just going to say this because nothing really interesting happens, and you can look at the production tab. I came into this guy's base earlier today. It was TVT, close by ground on Metalopolis. I looked around. He didn't have his orbital command. He was getting his gas relatively early, and he didn't have a barracks. And I saw he had an engineering base, so I immediately assumed that he was just taking a super fast expansion at the center, gold, and so I checked there. And then I came back, and he still hadn't built anything, and he had lifted his command center off. He tried to planetary fortress rush me, which he actually did land the planetary fortress, and he did kill a couple of my stuff, but I just lifted my command center and put it in my natural, and he couldn't do anything about it because he didn't have any units, and his planetary fortress couldn't lift off. And so yeah, just scout your guy to make sure he's not doing something crazy, because if I hadn't seen that, I probably wouldn't have been mentally prepared for it, and I would have freaked out, and I would have built a bunch of bunkers, and I wouldn't have lifted off, and it would have, or I would have tried to build my own counter-planetary fortress. It would have been all sorts of crap. So just always scout with a drone before the 5-minute mark. And so here he is. He's coming in with Zerglings. He had a queen put down a creep tumor early, which is good. I'd say this is actually maybe a little bit better than getting that first inject larva, because you can't really spend that. You can't spend that larva immediately. You just don't have enough money. Even if you're spending it all on drones, it just can't be done. And I love this really fast Evo chamber that will wall in almost perfectly. I mean, a Zergling could get by, but that's still a stronger wall off, and it could, if you were to put like a roach in there, it would freeze a zealot. It's a good wall off, and it means early upgrades, which we all know I like. He has enough gas for speed, which he's gotten, and then he should be getting +1 attack. Yes, good. This is such a cool kind of play. It's really fast, +1 speedlings, because they're super cheap to produce, and it's sort of like Spanishiwa style, but a little bit older. It's what's called a Zergling swap. That may just be my and Cynical Brit's name for it, but that's what I call it. A Zergling swap is where you get really fast +1 attack and make a bunch of Zerglings and then move out and kill them. Because Zerglings are super cheap, they are very fast to reinforce, and with +1 they deal a ton of damage. And so if your opponent isn't prepared for it, if for example he's gearing up for a roach push, that's what this shows. I mean, it's also a little bit, I mean, this can repel a Zergling push, and depending on the amount he actually produces, which so far is none, depending on the amount he actually produces, it's really going to depend, or it's really going to differ. However, this right now isn't exactly the best army to beat a mass Zergling play. It's not a terrible army to beat a mass Zergling play. It's probably a better army than pure Stalker, but it's not the kind of army you want. In a perfect world, you would have mass. Oh, I would just check the units tab. Yeah, that's 65 Zerglings to 5 Zealots. That number is considerably larger than the other, if we just look up there. I mean, that is very different. Now, what does one Zergling count as supply-wise? I'd just like to know. Now, Zealots do kill Zerglings insanely well, but the Zerglings have to surround them, the Zerglings have upgrades, and the Zerglings. He's going to attempt to try and wall himself in. He should cancel this immediately, but he's not going to. Did he cancel? I can't tell. But because this is a tournament, you're kind of forced to keep in as long as possible, and right now, Serial Killer is just macroing pretty well. He has his Spire going up, good play. He doesn't appear to expect Dark Templars, which, I mean, my question for you is this: would you use the Dark Templars to clear out your Zerglings and allow you to establish your expansion? Or do you use the Dark Templars to try to go in and win the game and punish him for not having detection? That's a question I honestly don't know the answer to, because I mean those are decent force fields, and a Stalker that will really help him here. Like a Stalker. Is he just like out of money or something? 2 more sentries. Those weren't very good force fields, but he does need to prevent the Zergling run by in that little space there. Although actually, no. He could have destroyed this and then put pylons on the low ground, but it looks like he's going to actually go in and try to punish his opponent for a lack of detection, which is an interesting play. I mean, you could get Phoenix here and do some damage. I mean, do you go straight for hatches? Do you go for drones? I just don't know. I mean, this is decent DT play, because he doesn't have detection, and he's just sort of... I mean, the right answer is go for queens, but because he's on layer, he's going to get detection. It's just a matter of time. I mean, this Dark Templar does have 13 kills, but Dark Templar versus Zergling actually is Zergling's advantage, because Dark Templars do a lot of damage to one thing, while Zerglings take a tiny amount of damage because they have 35 health, but there are a billion of them, so Dark Templar Zergling is really, really bad matchup. This number is a lot less than this number. So Serial Killer, I mean, he's really won here, and this is, oh my god, 24 drones, that's awesome. Holy crap, just re-macro like a boss. That's awesome, I'm gonna say it. Now, what's his name? Matrix Runner trying to go out and take his expansion. So what we're seeing here from Serial Killer is Serial Killer really plays a little bit like July Zerg, which is, do still have that Zerg foundation of the ability to macro, but at the same time use aggression, because you know your opponent doesn't expect it because he's Zerg. Use high Zerg and Baneling aggression. Well, I'm going to assume Banelings versus Terran. Use high Zerg aggression. Oh, is this a drop? Is this a drop? They have speed. Do they?